And actually, my grandmother used to pull it off the sides of the road, too,
Wild
right?
chicory, yeah.
And what I'm doing here, we're using some Swiss chard, rainbow, or what do you call it, bright lights?
Bright lights. Actually, my husband Guy grows this in our garden, so bright lights.
And this is a nice braising green. I love this even under, let's say, a fish or a chicken as a vegetable. And so basically what I'm doing is I'm going to get this tortina, and we're going to get that started by braising the greens, and we're going to braise some onions too here, or cook down some onions. So you're going to make us the frittata part, or the egg part, right?
Now, this is unusual because usually when you make a frittata, you don't use flour.
Correct.
So you're using, this is an Umbrian recipe?
Yeah, Umbrian, you'll find this in different parts, but I remember growing up that my grandmother always had this, my Umbrian grandmother always had this great breakfast dish where she took eggs and tomatoes together and made it wonderful, right? So it would always have a little more of a crust to it than the frittatas that I was used to later on. And what it was is she added a little bit of flour to her eggs. And then she made something that I almost use as instead of ketchup on anything else, is this chipotle with tomato sauce. So what I'm doing, I'm going to braise the greens while you kind of mix that up. And for braising the greens, it's really easy. We're taking some whole garlic, and I'm just going to kind of give it a couple of slices, right? And you're a great whisker, by the way.
Well, I've been whisking a while, so... And you know, I'm glad you chose this particular recipe to make because, there's a real famous saying in Italian that goes, facciamo una frittata.
Yep.
Facciamo una frittata means we're making a mess of things.
I was going to say, that's usually what I would hear when I was making a mess of things.
And whenever you made a mess of things, that's what your grandmother would tell you. Facciamo una frittata, because when you make a frittata, you got to mess up the eggs.
Right, beat them up like crazy.
I think that you always have to have at least 4 eggs to make a frittata, don't you?
You need a good amount. At least 4. In this case, we have 6.
Okay.
Can I steal a spoon from you on your side?
Yes, here you go.
And now, here I am, I'm doing a quick braise.
Yep.
With that garlic in there, right? And this is going to that garlic's going to kind of...
Ooh, that smells good
already. It's
already.
going to be delicious. We're going to put a little salt and pepper in there.
Okay.
And I also got my oil going well for those onions.
For the chipolata.
Yeah, the chipolata. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, pop them in here. Look at that. We got all those in there.
Yeah, when you're a chef, you have to learn to multitask, right? Isn't that true?
There's no such thing as only one pan going at a time at our house.
I put a little nutmeg in there.
Some fresh nutmeg in there.
Yeah, okay. Good. That's going to be great.
I want to cook this down just a little bit because I don't want to lose all the texture in that. A lot of flavor. And so we're going to get that into our little bowl.
Here we go.
And watch, one pan, right?
I'm a one-pan cook.
You know who I learned that from?
Who?
You.
Of course.
No, I did. It's just one thing, and it works great for someone who's lazy like me.
All right,
doesn't like to clean.
There's hardly any water in that. You could do this with spinach too if you wanted to.
You could do it, and you'll find that'll be a little more wet.
Right, and you would have to drain it like this.
And probably use a little bit more.
So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here, can I?
You put that in.
Okay.
Now, what's going to happen now is these onions are cooking down, right? I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit more because I want to get them kind of searing.
Yeah.
You could take your time with this chipolata by doing a big batch of onions. You know, like when you make an onion soup and you caramelize it?
Yeah.
It takes a couple hours and you really get this nice flavor. You could either do it really quick like we're doing today, or you could kind of bring it up and get it cooking. But by cooking those down, adding the tomato, the natural sweetness from the sauce, that'll go great.
Yeah.
Here on this side, we got our pan getting hot again because I want to get the oil to a point where it's going to be nice and hot, so it almost bubbles the eggs, right?
Right.
But then we're going to turn it down a little bit.
And finish it in the oven, right?
And finish in the oven.
What are we going to do with those?
Those we're not using today, but they do 2 things. We're going to use them another time. You can make great soups with this. We've talked about that in the past. But the other thing, too, they make a great garnish.
Watch that handle. I also taught you to keep the handle away.
Then we also makes a great garnish. If you just sauteed this, and I got the same crunch of a celery, but some great flavor, and don't waste anything. All your vegetables are important.
That's
never waste them.
a real important Italian commandment. Do not waste anything. What do you think?
Let's get that in there. Watch, we'll get a nice little sizzle. There's our sizzle.
Okay.
Then we'll just kind of move around the greens so they're kind of even in the pan. And you'll see it starts almost like frying on the sides. You know,
right, you want to get it cooked on the bottom, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of minutes that we're going to let this kind of cook up, and then we're going to get the center is going to kind of come together. But the center will just still be a little bit soft before we put it in the oven.
Yeah, you could add a little cheese to that too, couldn't you?
Right,
that'd be good.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Excellent.
So we have those ingredients going right there.
So we've got to wait a couple of minutes before we pop that in the oven.
Perfect.
Got it. How do we know when that's ready to put in the oven?
So when it's kind of settled, but the soft's still on the outside, watch, you kind of can move it around.
Right. Yeah.
Almost like flipping an omelet, right? Same concept. But what we're going to do is now take it to the oven, and that flour that's on top, It's going to get, let me switch out.
No, that's the wimpy way. I just turn it out onto a plate and put it back in the pan.
Well, that's not going to happen today. I'm a wimp today. So we got it moving. I'm going to go put this in the oven.
All right.
What I need you to do is kind of finish those onions with the tomato,
Okay.
and I'll be right back.
All right, so here we have the onions are pretty much cooked down. We're going to add a little bit of tomato sauce that Luca made from scratch and get that in. And just let that cook, I believe, for a few minutes.
Looks like we're all set, Marianne. It's ready in the oven. Ooh,
Great.
Nice and hot.
All right, your sauce is ready.
Yeah, watch this. We're going to slide this right onto the cutting board. Voila. Just serve it like a pizza.
Beautiful. Let's
There you
get a
go.
dish out for that.
All right.
How about this?
That's perfect.
Is that good?
Like I said, it's great for a brunch. It's great for breakfast. My daughter and I have frittata every morning for breakfast, and I started doing the tortina. And actually has a little more of a crust over the top.
It looks really, really good. And it's healthy, too. You know, it's a nice,
Oh, definitely.
healthy, easy dish. It's not going to cost a lot of money.
You know what would be great with those onions, too? A little bit of wine.
We'll have that later. There.
So,
Is that enough?
Simple. It's elegant. A little cheese if you like on top. And this is great if you can't have cheese. It's got so much flavor. You don't have to do a lot to it.
This is what Italian cooking is all about.